to... Hey guys!
Hello.
We are live.
We are so live.
So, you know, as you know, the tarot is my other world. And so I just want to shout out to Carol. Hi, Carol. And I think I can see you, Carol. And Susanna. Hi, guys. Just want to welcome you. We're just going to wait a second as people kind of join us. And you can see this is like people coming on. So I just want to introduce, and I'll introduce them like probably several times. Monty, you look like you have a halo behind you.
I do.
So I've known them a long time. Let's say several decades.
We love Tori. She's so smart and funny and
Oh
everything.
God, we were just laughing our butts off just a little while ago. You know, so some of you know I've come to it's the Reader Studio Tarot Conference in New York, and I was really happy to find Monty and Amy here. And it feels so good. Okay, we got to be careful because they strike you on YouTube. You know, no, I'm just kidding.
Right.
Yeah, if you play the songs and stuff like that. So where we are is we're just saying hi to a few people. Tia's coming in. Hi, Tia. Hey! So what I thought we'd do is just because this is our opportunity to talk tarot, what's going on in the world in terms of, you know, there's a lot of things coming full circle. And I've been talking about this. Some of you heard me the other night. The thing that happened 24 years ago, Monty, which I know, of course, you remember like that. The Menendez case. The boys were found,
the brothers.
Right. They were found guilty
Of shotgunning their parents.
They did kill their parents. However, there was a lot of abuse. There's all stuff. But here's the thing that's interesting. That was 24 years ago. Now, you guys heard me say this the other night. We were talking about the Jupiter having its 12-year cycle.
That's correct. So that's 2 Jupiter cycles.
Right. So now here's something that I want to bring up to you. I shared with everybody the other night on the cover of the LA Times. On the right side of the page, it said Menendez brothers found guilty of killing their parents. On the left side, same front cover, same day of the LA Times, it talked about people paying people off to get their kids into college.
Oh, cool.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So this was now 2 Jupiter cycles ago.
Yeah.
So, and it's funny because some of you remember the other night I was on with Judy Ron, and we were like, I was telling you about this. Some people were making note of like Judy Ron kind of went, when I talked about Jupiter, he was like, because he's like a retired police officer. He's a retired police officer. So it's like, he just went, and people were like, his face was precious, you know. But we were talking about that, and I really wanted to get your thoughts on that kind of Jupiter cycle and like, why would we see something like that? And where are we now with Jupiter?
Jupiter has just gone retrograde in Sagittarius.
No, you're kidding.
Yeah, really. Jupiter in astrology is like a psychological language. So it means how you grow, how you handle things in terms of your personal growth, and how you handle things when things go good. Saturn's how you handle things when things go bad. So, and that's a 28-year cycle. So we're coming up on a 1 Saturn cycle to what you were talking about.
Remind me, I'm almost over.
Right, so Saturn's in Capricorn right now, but Jupiter's in Sag, and Jupiter rules Sag. So it's actually a very potentially positive thing. But and Jupiter,
for some.
But Jupiter is honesty, so it's not a surprise to me that you have these parents being caught out being so dishonest.
Well, I wonder too, because it's an interesting thing, and I'm just so y'all know, I just want to say hi to a couple of you. Hi, Cynthia, and I see.
Oh wow!
Black Rose 11. Now, just so you know, these guys are with the little wrenches here. Cruise Boston. They're actually moderators, and they are here to help.
What an honor!
So I know, aren't they great? They're fantastic, and they kind of like if somebody comes on and says, you know, I want to sniff your, you know, your hair, or I want to sniff your face.
Joe Biden's on the.
No, he's not. We get into so much trouble together, you guys. Okay. I swear, I'm going to lose. Like, they're going to be like, she's banned. But what I wanted to do was I wanted to show them, because I have it on this computer, you guys, the article. Because I wanted to, let me see if I can bring it up as I'm talking to you. Don't worry, they can still see us. Because they're like,
what an age we live in.
I know, right? Article? Yeah, you can, but they can't. Let me see. I've only got 100 things that I put up the other night, you guys. So
only 100?
I know. Please, don't even start with me. It's like, please, am I ever going to find this?
Well, what else is going on in astrology?
Yeah.
Well, Pluto just went retrograde, so everybody's sort of having a life review, like when you die and your life flashes in front of you.
When did it go, Monty? When was the reverse?
Actually, 2 days ago. and Saturn is going to go
Oh,
retrograde
okay.
on May 2nd. So this is it's potentially
I can't find it.
good because of the Jupiter part of it.
Right.
But there are a lot of astrologers who think that the Saturn-Pluto going retrograde is going. Oh, there it is. That the Saturn-Pluto going retrograde is going to do a lot of damage to the financial system, and that Bitcoin is going to come in, or cryptocurrencies are going to come in. They see this whole cycle, not necessarily happening now, but they see it happening by like 2021.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
so
a wild cover.
Okay, so just so you know, I just put it up. I think I shared with you guys some. I'll put it up in the community section on the on YouTube here. But basically, I showed this to Judy Ron the other night, and it's Sunday, March 25th, 1996. So it would be 25 years ago. Look at this on the right.
Oh, that's crazy.
Menendezes are found guilty of killing parents, and on the left, UCLA eased entry rules for the rich and
Sorry
well-connected.
to laugh. I mean,
That's-
somebody died.
I know, it's horrible.
I know,
but
but how bizarre is it that you've got both of those elements? Parents for the rich, well-connected, right? The parents
But
who
they
are
knew
paying
it.
off.
They knew it in 1996.
What
But
did
that's
you
what I'm
say was
saying.
in Sagittarius?
Now Jupiter's in
So
Sagittarius.
that's the truth.
So now the truth
comes
is coming out, and this time it's like the truth is setting you free. Instead of they sometimes they can publish a truth, and if nobody does anything, nothing happens. You know,
So
it's
that's
like
what I wonder is that as it comes back, and this is the thing, it's like what you skip stops you. So I wonder if like what we're skipping over in this area.
Well, I
Come
don't think
back.
I don't
Come
think
back.
with Pluto and Saturn retrograde in Capricorn, and I forgot to mention for all you astrologers out there, Saturn is retrograde on the south node of the moon. I know it's
Can you just make that in English so everybody knows what you're
it
saying?
means it's a karmic time.
Okay, karmic.
Yeah, and when anything is retrograde in Capricorn, it's all about respect and it's all about authority. So I think you're going to start seeing, everyone's been saying, oh, everyone's getting away with everything. I don't think that's going to happen anymore.
Well, it's already not happening,
Yeah,
right?
Right,
That's
exactly.
an example.
Because
where
we're
you just,
already seeing
the
Smollett,
parents, yeah.
Yeah.
right? With Jussie Smollett.
Well, also,
But
yes,
They
it's the
did
government.
everything to try to
Mhm.
get him off, right?
And he got that slap on the wrist because it's now alternative.
Oh, yes, and as a matter of fact, in the Chicago area,
Mhm.
a judge went up against a DA and said, how come this woman who you're accusing of the same thing you want her to get time when you let somebody off? So Kim Fox's office is getting a lot of trouble from the judiciary, and as somebody who used to work with judges as a location manager, they do not like to be mocked at all. So
Well, and you're bringing up a good point. Judges, and isn't Jupiter tied into
Jupiter is justice. Yeah, it's philosophy, justice.
And in the tarot and in your cards, judgment
Mhm.
and justice come up.
Oh, that's so.
And we
Yeah.
apply it to the modern
Can you
age,
pull out
right?
your now? Just hold up the thing. I
It's
just
our
want you to.
Enchanted
This is
Tarot.
their Enchanted Tarot deck, and I have to let you know, Monty and Amy. I'm going to tell you, I've known them for more than 2 decades, maybe 3 or more.
We knew them before, but in our past lifetime.
Yes, another lifetime too. But we're not going to do past life on this feed. So
No.
what we're doing, everybody, just so you know, is can you
Mine's
pull out?
wrapped up.
Oh, it is. Then
Yeah.
don't pull it out. Okay, so mine is unwrapped. But the justice card becomes very important, and justice denied is, what is that saying? Justice denied is not justice. Anybody know what that
Justice delayed is justice
is?
denied.
Not justice, or is it justice?
Is justice denied? Yeah.
Yes. So I wonder.
That's why they say a speedy trial. You're entitled to a speedy trial.
So I wonder if when we're looking at these energies of like things, because even when, and so everybody, just as a reminder, when we looked at the Chris Watts case, he confessed in 2 days.
Right.
I mean, so we're looking at all of these things happening very fast.
Yes. And also, justice is balance, right? So maybe things are coming back into balance to go back to a positive look, that things are
Well, things happen.
better than we think.
This is a very strange story that I just heard. We're at a hotel, and it's an airport hotel, so they have an airport shuttle, and the airport driver saw that our friend 16-year-old daughter was getting on, and her mother was standing there, and he was going to take the 16-year-old daughter by herself to the airport, and he said, would you please get on the bus with me? He didn't even want to have the appearance of impropriety.
I mean,
In other words,
the
people
people-
are starting to realize we got to take this seriously.
Mhm.
not be
Molestation.
careless.
and that people sometimes say somebody did something when they didn't. He wanted the mother with him, so I think that's actually a good thing.
I do too, and it's interesting, when I think about, and I go back to the O.J. Simpson trial, right?
Yes.
And what I'm thinking about is one of the most profound things I heard actually was after the verdict, and I people were like shocked. I know I was, but it was this kid on a skateboard, black kid, and he turns around and he says, well, you know what? It's about time, because white people have been getting off on big crimes like this forever. So finally a black guy has gotten off. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. And that always stayed with me.
Yes.
So I wonder if some of this justice swinging back is kind of like looking at the Smollett case and things like that, of like, well, how do we set that right? I mean, we don't know how to do it. I mean, if you did a crime, you'd do the time, is my thinking. But sometimes there's also that thing of too much time, to overcompensating.
Well, didn't they just do? Didn't the president just sign some bill about that was actually?
Yeah, it was a justice reform. What was it?
Yeah, that Kim Kardashian and Kanye wanted.
Oh, that was a woman who she was. And guys, do you know the story? It was the woman who had been put away. It was a black woman who was dealing cocaine. I would say, but she was. It was something like. It was ridiculous.
It was like such a long time.
It was not only a long time ago. She really wasn't. She wasn't a danger.
Right,
and she was actually a very nice woman who got caught up in things. I think it was that she had, and this is what I'm also talking about with the Menendez case, which I'll talk about in a second, is that she really, there were extenuating circumstances. She wasn't just somebody who was like some dope dealer. She was like someone who was trying to keep her family together.
Well, and there's a lot of innocent people in jail, and maybe what we're talking about will be also some reform that way, right?
Yeah. No, I think there will be reform.
I think this age of Aquarius, things get shaken up, and it's like a roller coaster ride, and that's why, like, every day it's a new, like, how can I process this and that and this and that, but it's going to come into balance with justice.
Now, you're bringing up a very important point, though. When you talk about the age of Aquarius, can you explain what that means? Because I think that's an important thing to understand.
The ages happen every 2,200 years, and it's based on the precession of the equinoxes. Right now, when the first day of spring happens, it doesn't happen as the first degree of Aries. It's actually in the degrees of Aquarius. So that's why it says we're in the age of Aquarius, and it goes backwards through the zodiac. The first day of spring goes backwards through the zodiac. 72. Every 72 years is 1 degree. So that's why it's true.
So we came out of the age of Pisces.
We came out of the age of Pisces.
Religion and kindness and the drug revolution.
And belief in things unseen.
And but now the age of Aquarius is all this technology and invention.
And revolution.
Everything.
Humanitarian too, because Aquarius is humanitarian and stuff like that.
And it's disruptive. The Aquarian age is revolutionary. It's like, look what we're doing. We were just sitting there talking, and you said, "Let's do this on the computer," and all of a sudden, we're talking to people all around the world.
Well, yeah,
that's Aquarius.
And see, that's something too that I want to say, everybody, is that just so you all know, Monty and Amy have been artists for I think this is like the 5th lifetime, but they've been artists since they met. You guys, I was 18 or 19 when I met them. It was at some kind of like retreat. Amy remembers. Monty's like, really? And
I was really there, so I don't remember. I was in the 60s.
We had to share a toilet, and we've never done that.
That's camping out. For Amy and me. And sharing a toilet
with others.
Yeah.
So it was, and they had just done a deck called the Karma Cards, and I was so impressed with them, and the fact that here they are. They're like this in my side of the industry. They're kind of like a spiritual power couple, because Amy is like this amazing artist, and just so you all know, their deck here, what I'm showing you, that's her art. Like, that's the real deal. She like draws that stuff, and she also has collections now at Bergdorf.
Yeah.
And her design and her style has been something that she's been working with for decades. So when you talk about people that make a living as artists and do this, it's very inspiring to me, and I think being in New York this week, guys, I had a lot of meetings with people in the publishing industry, and I was telling them, I'm doing true crime, and I'm, on YouTube, and I'm talking, tarot, astrology, all this stuff, and they were like, our readers love true crime. It's so big, you know.
True crime is awesome.
It is.
That's our hobby.
Is it really?
Oh,
We're
for sure.
detectives, yeah.
Yeah, we watch detective shows all the time.
we
Me too.
pretend detectives.
My father was a New York City police sergeant. My brother works for the U.S. Marshal Service.
We watch European detectives.
Yeah, we watch the European stuff.
Anybody know those? Like, which ones do you watch?
Well, Spiral is amazing, and in America, actually, Bosch on Amazon
I love Bosch.
is great.
I am a nut for. Now this is
Yeah, we just binged through the
Oh my
new
God.
There's
season.
amazing Swedish ones.
Yeah, the Swedish shows are pretty good also.
I have a funny Michael Connelly story. You know, the
Oh, the
author
guy
of
who wrote Bosch.
He wrote Bosch, and just so you guys know, it's like the Harry Bosch. What is it? The mysteries, real. But
It's
they're more
worth
like
watching.
It's more like procedural.
No, but
He's
it's
great.
really good.
Well, the books, the guy who wrote them, Michael Connelly. I was at a conference years ago, a writing conference, and there were like all these people there, all these famous, you know, mystery writers and people writing true crime, and they were all like, I swear they all wear trench coats. Okay, like they're all kind of like.
As long as they have pants on underneath.
They did.
I think I could design some outfits.
And anyway, they have trench coats on, and it was that kind of like convention. You know, I'm trying to think of Walter Mosley was there. You know,
Yeah.
people
Really?
who were there. Oh yeah, this was the Boucher Con. It's a big mystery convention,
Wow.
mystery writer convention. So I went because I was like aspiring, and I have to tell you, I knew like no one, and so I'm standing at the bar by myself, and
You're
I'm standing.
so brave that way.
Oh my God, you guys, you don't even know. And I'm standing there. You know how they have the dish of like olives and cherries, you know? And so I'm sitting, I'm right there. And Walter Mosley's standing here with his back to me, and he's talking to other people. He turns around and he says to me, oh, can I get an olive? And I'm like, oh, sure. So give him an olive.
You're so generous.
So wait a minute, it gets better.
Generous to a fault.
He got
gets
one.
better.
I
He
love
got
the
one.
purple hair too. Sorry.
Yeah, it looks fantastic. Oh yeah, who's the purple hair? Oh,
Thank you.
Oh, Carol, isn't it great? So then, and by the way, everybody, Monte Farber and Amy Zerner, their website is the Enchanted World,
Right.
and .com, right? Is
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
the enchantedworld.com?
Or
Yeah.
our names, Amy Zerner or Monty Farber.
And
We keep it
definitely,
simple.
The
we're
Enchanted
gonna,
World of Murder Mystery.
it's about to get that way.
You know, I've actually done cold cases for the New York City Police
Have
Department.
you really?
Oh my
I
God,
have.
yes.
So we were at a book signing, and this man
I'm gonna close this door. But
in there, and my friend introduces me as a psychic, and they're standing there rocking back and forth on their heels,
Really?
going, you know, I don't
So
believe in this
skeptical.
crap. And I said, I showed him a picture of my father who was like a policeman in the 50s and 60s. I said, this is what I grew up with. I'm used to people thinking it's a bunch of crap. So I said, why don't you just try me? So they showed me some pictures of a cold case they were working on. They showed me a picture of a white cop and a black cop. And I said, these guys were assassinated, but for some reason they have more holes in them than they should. It's like
a psychic.
they weren't just shot; they were like shot a lot of times. He said we haven't told their families that, and this is from the 70s.
Oh my God.
So that was one thing, and that started me in my doing the cold cases with the police. There's a lot of stuff I can't talk about.
But do you think, though, and I'm curious for all of us too, do you think that like there's a lot more of intuitive work going on?
Yes, they
that
don't talk about
that
it.
we don't hear about, that you know, because I think, you know, I showed you that headline, right? Of
Yes.
and we look at that and we're going, wait a minute. We're seeing things happening over and over again. And what I do a lot, and these guys can attest to it on my channel, is I talk about the spiritual and the underlying ramifications of what's going on with these crimes.
Yes,
you
because
know?
that's all connected to, you know, what we put out, what we listen to, what we're thinking about. But I know how intuitive you are. So when you hear a headline, you know, innocent or guilty or
Yeah, I think I told them that story. I got called for jury duty, and I was like all excited. You know, I was like, "Woo, got jury duty!" And I sit down, and I'm like happy. And they brought me up into the box, you know, because they're asking me questions. Yeah, I'm really like, I'm an American. I'm doing this, and the guy goes, "So what do you do?" I said, "I'm a psychic."
Don't let the door hit you on the butt.
Well, wait, it gets better. I go, you know, I can really save everybody time. I can tell you if that guy did it or not. Do you want me to just do that? And they were like,
so honest.
thank you.
Monty, the same thing
I had the
happened to
same
Monty.
thing happen.
Monty
Did you
was so eager to serve.
I did because I knew this doctor was innocent and I wanted to get him off. But anyway, they asked, anybody has a problem, come out in the hallway and speak to us. This is in Suffolk County in New York. And I came out, I said, listen, I'm a professional psychic. You can go on the
So
internet.
honest, like they're looking
and you
at
can
him.
look, and I said, and I will try my best not, and at that point I had decided I'm not going to use psychic information. I really want to be a citizen. I want, they were like, thank you very much. We'll call you, like never.
Yeah, I always laugh.
So they're all going to use this now.
That's going to be the new thing. I'm like,
It definitely works. If you want to get out of jury duty, tell them you're a psychic, but you got to be able to back it up. Like, I got books. And stuff.
Yeah, you also have to be able to say, and let me tell you what your dog told me after dinner.
I'm not that good.
No, I'm not that good either. So, Amy, somebody asked about your collection at Bergdorf. How do they find it and stuff?
Fourth
So
floor.
fourth floor in the evening department, there's a rack that says Amy Zerner. Anyone there will tell you, will guide you to show it. I do evening jackets and
Yeah.
beautiful goddess gowns.
And she's
Very
been there
elegant.
20 years, so they
Is it
all
really
know her.
that long?
Yeah.
Is it really that long?
Yeah.
Sorry, it's unfortunate, but we're like we're long ball players.
I do lots of commissions for people, and I like to tune in. If they let me, I do their astrology chart. Do their
how
signs and
fun.
Yeah.
symbols. Yeah.
She has Saudi princesses and all kinds. The woman whose family founded Selfridges, the TV
Oh yeah,
show
I know.
Selfridges.
Yeah.
Her grandfather founded it, and she can get anything she wants there. But she loves Amy's stuff, so she has like about 40 of them.
Oh
I'm
my
so
god.
proud of her.
So we're gonna.
It's so cool how everyone sort of knows their chart or.
And who knows
Here's a
Bergdorf
second.
Goodman? I was
Yeah,
impressed by
exactly.
someone who knows Bergdorf Goodman. I want to just say one thing.
Yeah, please.
One of the things you see about the news nowadays that I haven't seen discussed anywhere is the fact that it is so wild. Like if we as psychics were to, like I was doing cold cases, if I was to tell them, there's families that are like buying houses for too much money to get their kids into college, the cops would say, you're full of it. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's like the truth is really stranger than fiction now, but that's what's coming out in the
And
news.
I wonder about that too. I mean, when I look at like the situation, and y'all know about this anyway, when we look at the LoriLoughlin situation, it's kind of like for $500,000, she could have basically
Set them up in business.
set them up in business or put them in a college they wanted to go to. I mean, couldn't you? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm naive, but like, who cares if you go to USC or UCLA? There's great colleges out there.
Well, she was interested in fashion. I mean, why were they trying to make her something that she wasn't?
Because they're helicopter parents who crashed.
The status
Oh.
means so much. And
They
this
got
is just
too
another
close to the
feather
sun.
have.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's true. Let me see. It says, I'm a Scorpio, Sun, Leo ascendant.
Leo ascendant.
Oh, there you go, right
Aries
here.
sun.
Aries Sun. Oh, then Christine, you just have to
It's a
move in
very
with them.
stubborn combination. by the
Okay,
way.
Can
Yeah,
you tell me
really. Don't
anything?
mess with her.
So yeah, don't mess with her. She's stubborn. We still love you, but let me see. But see, that's an interesting thing because you
Leo
show.
rising, we're the best.
I know. Well, aren't I like if I'm 0 degree? it's
You're
not that
doing 0
big.
degrees
Virgo.
Virgo.
But wouldn't
You're
that-
like super Virgo because the first and last degree of the signs are the border guards. They have to be the strongest degrees.
So that means
You
I'm
are.
pushy.
You're very discerning.
No, you're Virgo.
Oh, all right.
You're very discerning. You break things down. Look at the
That's
way you're
true.
analyzing the situation.
You do.
Virgo
You
is
have
analysis,
right?
digestion. It breaks it up into small component
You're so good
parts.
at that.
Digesting.
Nobody digests
did.
like my friend Thor. You know what I'm saying?
We
Forget about it.
We did have some fart conversations earlier.
Fart
but I
jokes
think-
always
See how
work.
astrology works?
See, it's the same thing. It's like
As
you
night
just have
follows
that one.
day.
Let's see. Okay, I gotta just read. Let's see.
You are Tori.
I'm not stubborn. Oh, you are.
Wait, you're being stubborn about you not being stubborn. It's a trap. It's
What's
a
going
conundrum.
on with Aquarius? Black Rose wants to know.
Aquarius.
He's an Aquarian. Okay. We've got the Aquarius Central here. Yeah, what is going on with Aquarius right now?
Well, here's
in
the
general?
thing.
I mean,
Right now, the ruling planet of Aquarius, which is Uranus, fart jokes, whatever, Uranus, is in the sign of Taurus. And,
Okay.
and the sun has just gone over that. So that's why everybody went a little nuts a few days ago. But now we're calming down. But last time, Uranus takes 80 years to go around the solar system. And the planet Neptune, which is in the home sign of Pisces, takes 160 years to go around.
so in other words, you'll never see it.
There is
In
a
English,
point.
hold on, we're doing translate now.
There is a point. The last time Uranus was in Taurus and Neptune was in Pisces was in the run-up to the American Civil War in the 1850s. in the late 1850s into the early, not early.
There is
And
that
you
feeling going
cannot
on.
see any kind of news program without them mentioning something about the word civil
polarity.
war.
Or
Polarity.
civility. I've been talking about that, like being civil on the channel, being kind to each other. You know, it's really interesting because people are just. I'm going to go close that door. Tell them about.
Is it open?
Yeah, down there it is. Because what's happening is that we're actually sitting out in the hallway because they threw us out. They're like playing crazy music like in there that's like, it just, you know what it is? It's funeral music to a beat.
That's the way we roll with the tarot.
It's just like, we throw cards around and we dance to death. We dance ourselves to death.
Welcome, everyone.
Yes, yes.
Black Rose, did you say you said about your chart before?
Yeah, let's see. Me
did.
too, Gemini Sun, Leo Ascending, Stephanie.
Okay, Leo Rising. I'll tell you a fun fact about Leo Rising.
Okay, here we go.
For Leo Risings,
I'm going to close that door. You tell the fact.
okay, the fun fact about Leo Risings is we have a different kind of stage fright. We get scared when we're not on stage.
Yes, we need a lot of attention.
Yeah, yes. That's my wife of 45 years.
Affection.
Oh. Yeah, so we got rid of Tori now.
Commandeering.
She was just taken by space aliens. It's what's happening, Aquarius. Well, so you want to know what's happening for Aquarius? It's actually right now the planets are all in the one section of the sky, starting with Jupiter and then moving all the way in Sag, all the way to Uranus and Taurus, and now Mars and Gemini. So everything is going in that one quadrant of the sky. And in case you're here looking for where Tori is, I don't know where she is either. Oh, she's getting water.
What about Libra rising? Indecisive.
Libra risings
affectionate.
means you hate to have people fight around you, so we won't fight. Oh, and now we're going to make Tori appear.
Look, they just did a magic trick.
Oh my God, we're so good.
Okay, so Libra rising. I also want to say something about Libra rising and the rising signs in general. That's how people are going to see you, right? That's the first thing that comes in the room.
The colors you pick to wear.
So Libra, you're going to come in the room and they're going to think, oh, she's like a friend, because you know they're lazy Libra, right? They sit next to your friend. You know, it's like I had a Libra dog and he just sat like this all day. Okay, so Libra rising is going to look like they're going to be your friend. They're going to be tandem with you, right? But you put that rising sign with a fire sign, they're out the door. And you're going, what happened? I thought we were going to hang out. They're like, no, I came by to get you. And the other thing is your rising sign is going to dictate where the other planets are in your chart. Now, in English, what that means is that when you've got a rising sign, that's going to also dictate how you see the world.
That's correct.
It's like the lens that you see.
Right. So as a 0-degree Virgo rising or a Leo rising.
Or Scorpio.
Scorpio. Misunderstood.
So what's that going to mean for me? Well, my Sagittarius falls in Amy's second house. In English, that means we'll eat together. And it seems that every time I see her, we're sitting together. Oh yeah, I like that too. So that's kind of that's a little bit of advanced stuff, but in general, I'm really vibing on that Jupiter. Because my feeling is
because you're Sag rising.
Yeah.
Hello.
Now there is a good sign to that too, right? When it comes back.
Oh, Jupiter in Sag is great.
Is it lucky?
It's every 12 years. Yeah, Jupiter comes into its home sign every 12 years, but Neptune comes into its home sign every 164 years. So
I won't be here.
But what I'm trying to say, this is a very important time.
I am checking
Somebody
out.
just asked before about Capricorn. That's Karen McG.
Yeah.
Okay, now Capricorn. You guys are really getting your butt kicked because if you're in late Capricorn,
for a while, man.
Yeah, for a while. Pluto's been going through Capricorn for like 10 years, and when Pluto goes over your sun, you feel like you either have to exert power or power will be exerted over you. And Saturn there now, which is its home sign, it's going to be there for another year and a half. Saturn in Capricorn is actually quite good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, but it's all about being serious. And like the jazz musicians say, serious as a heart attack. You know, you got to be that serious about your stuff. So Capricorns right now, Jupiter in retrograde till August. What's up? Well, Jupiter in retrograde is all about going in within and trying to expand your understanding of yourself.
And also there's another thing too that Monty's bringing up that I think is important. With that Jupiter retrograde and going inside, Jupiter also, if we look at the 7 chakras, the planet of Jupiter represents your 6th chakra, which is your intuitive side, but it's also family of origin and the things that you come from. Like your life expands from that 6th sense. So a lot of people don't recognize that, but when we look at our family legacy, that's 6th chakra. So what you're talking about also of going back inside and looking back at family dynamics.
Right.
Look at the crimes that are going on right now. They're all related to family dynamics. We're looking at family in terms of the Menendez brothers crime, family murders, right? Chris Watts, family. But check out the whole thing with the scandal with the college scandal, right? Family, but it's not murder. It's like all related to people trying to help people, reputations. And see the thing expanding that 6th chakra of family, I want to say family agreements also.
Well, also,
that's good.
In the Kabbalah, the concept of plagiarism is the equivalent of, is the spiritual equivalent of murder, because you're destroying the person's name attached to their stuff. The families who are like with the college stuff, they're murdering their good name. So it's actually, it is a true crime issue. It is a murder issue.
Oh,
but
wow.
It's in terms of the Kabbalah, what they're doing is the spiritual equivalent of murder.
So that's interesting because it's kind of like, killing off what, old ideas and reinventing and.
Well, that's Pluto and Capricorn is definitely good for killing off old ideas. It's wonderful.
Well, it's going to affect corporations, right?
It's going to affect big business. It could affect the financial system. I mean, there are really good astrologers who I follow and I like who they're totally like, well, get into Bitcoin and get into all this stuff. I'm not there yet. But because,
if I can't put it in my hand and go like this,
it's an illusion. Yeah.
I'm not.
Well, it's an illusion anyway because you have the money in the bank and you look at the online stuff and there's your numbers and it's just like Bitcoin in a certain state. But the people with Bitcoin, and I've read for a lot of them, and with cryptocurrencies, they are experiencing, because criminals know that it's untraceable, they're being victimized that way.
And I just saw a thing, and I'm sure you guys know about this, but some of you guys might know about it, but the dark web, it was talking about how they're hiring hitmen with Bitcoin off the dark web. And it was a fascinating thing. I think it was on A&E or something. I was watching it the other night and I was like, oh my gosh, can I ever get away from this like slippery slope? But I want to bring up something really quick that you said that I think is important. When we look at trends going on, okay, and we look right now with all of these, the Capricorn also for me is like, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? In a sense, it's like if you do your work. If
you endure.
Yep. If you endure and do your work, you will be rewarded. And it's interesting, everybody, because you always hear me say what you mean what you say, but don't say it mean, right?
So good.
And, a lot of people send me notes and they go, oh, that's not possible. You don't understand YouTube. People are mean. And I'm like, you know what? Let it begin with me.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the thing of Capricorn is it tells us don't give up.
Yeah.
Capricorns do not give up.
No.
So right.
And I think that if we don't give up on each other, if we keep saying we can do this, we can be kinder to each other. And somebody said, what about you're always talking about manners to me. And I'm like, I was talking to Monty and Amy about this. I was saying, you remember when we were little, our parents would go, where are your manners? Don't do that. Where are your manners? Go open that door. Where are your because we were reminded all the time. We have to be reminded to be nice to each other sometimes. It's not always in our nature. Sometimes I'm just mean,
Well, especially like when you're tired and you're a child. And
that's usually when
you're cranky and you just.
People are mean because they're frustrated and they're not getting what they want, and so they take it out on other people.
Yeah.
This is a lot of fun, by the way.
I know, aren't you guys? Somebody said I love that, Tori, and she said, and by the way, I think Black Rose said Amy and Monty are the real deal. They're just so great. Nice. Black Rose, would you mind? There it is.
Well, that's
official
why
term.
we're so excited to have her in our area.
So I want to just remind everybody that Monty and Amy are both on Facebook. You can find them on Facebook with their name, Monty. I'm gonna
Monte
Farber and Amy Zerner.
Yeah,
and
separate
names, but very much together.
Yeah,
and
like that.
Yes,
you're good with the cell copy.
So no, it's just you guys are great, and it's really it's nice too, and I think you all will get this. I sat down with them, and it's been over 30 years, okay? And I've seen them since then, but you know, it was just like laughing about stuff and just having that click. And you know, it's like it can be feel like, and you know, the thing is too, these two are like big cheeses in the tarot astrology world. Okay,
you're making me hungry.
I know, we're gonna get cheese in a minute, but anyway, so they're big cheeses. And the reason I say this to you is that, you know, I've always felt like I don't care how big people are, if they're not nice, I don't want you in the freaking room with me, right?
Yeah.
Because
a lot of famous people are nice. Actually.
You know what my dad used to say a lot of times, the bigger they are, the nicer they are, because they understand what it takes to get there.
Yeah.
And I think that's really true. Let's see what we got here. It says, oh, good, at Monte Farber. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Black Rose.
Yes, Black Rose, you're the best. And rising like waking up, LOL. Okay. Yeah, exactly. That can be too. You guys are so cute. I know, aren't they the best ever? Let's see. Happy birthday
to you.
Oh, Stephanie, you remembered. Yes.
Oh, what a nice thing to say.
Do you know the strangest thing? I got to tell y'all. Now, you've heard me talk. Thank you so much for remembering that, Stephanie. Today is my dad's birthday. And
you were just talking about a book you're writing.
Yes, and you know, and I'll share a little bit, which is that I had submitted this book to a publisher that I really like. You guys are with the same publisher, and it's a book related to my dad. And it was really interesting. We sat down today to talk about it. And we came up with some ideas to make it work and blah, blah, blah. And I said, you know, today's my dad's birthday. And he looked at me and he said, Tori, I'm getting truth bumps. As you guys know, I say that. And I went, have you been like around me too much? He just went, yeah.
Truth bumps. Never
I
heard
always say
that
truth
one.
bumps
I like
instead of goosebumps.
I like
right?
that.
Because we know, and somebody was asking the other day what that is. And I think it's that beautiful moment of synchronicity when your whole body and soul knows it. And you know, you get those goosebumps because something real is happening and you don't know what it is, but you feel it.
But it's happening so much lately.
And yes,
right?
Yes. And you know what? I'm glad you said that because I think it's happening more and more and more. And when those synchronicities show up, I just think it's God's way of remaining anonymous, right? We have those moments when we go, we're in it. We're in it. It's happening. And I think we just need to step back sometimes from things to get that perspective.
You mean not judge so much or not expect so much? I
think it's kind of like, you know, I had a friend who literally could not show up for death. It didn't matter what was going on in the world. This friend just was like, oh, yeah, I'll be there later. And she just never showed up.
I know.
And, you know, I'm still friends with her because I know before my dad died, we had watched Saving Private Ryan. And there's this scene. I'm not going to run the movie for you. Don't worry. It's a war and we won. But the idea is that barely, just really barely. But no one wins, as my dad used to say. But we were watching Saving Private Ryan, and there's this scene where this soldier goes up. It's in a staircase, and this German soldier, Nazi soldier, kills the American guy's buddy. And the American guy is standing there frozen, and he can't move. And I said to my father, I was sitting there, what's wrong with that guy? You know, why didn't he just say? Papa looked at me and said, Tori, not everyone knows what to do in every moment. And he said, some of us are just not built for it. We can't handle death. We can't handle pain. And I saw a lot of guys like that. And we've got to have compassion for those people.
Yes.
And I thought, that's what really set me on the thing of being kindness, you know, being kind to others, because I thought they just don't have the capacity. Yeah. He could not save his buddy because he just didn't know it. He was 19. Yeah. You know, my dad really went over that with me, and he was like upset with me. But
it's hard to keep that in perspective because we think what we were like when we were 19, or what that responsibility. How do you have the tools?
Well, but even at this age, I mean, we can honestly say, like, if somebody's hurting a family member, what have you. But when you're already shell shocked in war, and you already are someone that really can't function in that level. And I think that what's happening also, in some ways, because we technically we're not in wartime, technically, you know, I mean, we've got wars, we've always got something going on, but we're not like in it and I think what's happening is that we were living with a lot of shell-shocked people.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
And I think that a lot of them are committing crimes because they don't know any other way.
Well, they're traumatized and wounded, and, you know, that kind of healing hasn't happened.
And they also think that they've been deprived and that other people have more and they have no way of getting it,
Sometimes it's
Desperate people do desperate
And
things.
you blame other people.
Yeah.
But you're right. Kindness is key.
Kindness is the way to go. Kindness is spirituality.
Well, and I think that's the thing, and I always joke. I've heard you guys have heard this said. It's like the cliche of spirituality is, what is it? Religion is for people who are afraid of going to hell. Spirituality is for people who've been there.
Oh, I like that.
It's like
That's great.
it's just an old cliche, but it's so true.
Well, it's not old to me. I never heard it.
Well, there
before.
you go. Then we can just. So let's see if anybody had any. Do you have any questions for Monty or Amy? I don't want to keep them because, this is the longest day in history. Really, I mean,
Christine, you're
aw, thank you, Christine. And so what I'm this needs to be on a
fun.
mug.
Great.
So true. Let's see. Hey, Ashley. Humanimal, you made it.
Somebody's asking about Aries. What's going on for Aries?
Okay. What sign is April 18th, 19th? My twin and I are. That's
Aries.
interesting. It should be Aries.
And there's another Aries too.
Well,
Well,
Amy's an Aries.
Yeah, and look how fabulous. Look how well she turned out.
Aries. Actually, it's a good time. We've
Yeah.
been through some.
Yeah.
Well, Chiron's is on your sun, and for you to say it's a good time,
No,
it just
that's
shows how
good.
positive you are.
No, but
With
Chiron
her
is
Libra
also
moon.
okay. But what Chiron means in English, what I said before, I meant it about Chiron. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Chiron
So-
is the wounded healer.
That's why I've been doing so much healing for so long.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But
Hey, Duty Ron. Duty Ron's in the house, everybody.
Wow.
He's the- Duty Ron is and by the way, remember the other night, Duty Ron and I, he's the retired police officer,
Yeah,
detective, and New York detective, I need to add.
Wow. Wait.
Monty's dad was.
Yeah, he was a sergeant in the 61st in Sheepshead Bay.
Oh, how funny. So we were talking the other night about Jupiter, and that's what you missed the first part. So Monty and I were talking about your reaction to when I said Jupiter.
I can only imagine.
So it's like, but I think that Duty Ron, by the way, for those of you that don't know his channel, he covers great stuff. He really goes over what's happening behind the scenes with police work. He's really great. He's a real good guy, and he really is like about kindness and stuff. So I love him. And so go over everybody to his channel, Duty Ron. And definitely, if you want to like and subscribe, you'll find out. And as Duty Ron says on his channel, if you don't like it, you can leave after 30 days, and there's no restocking fee, and there's no payment. You can just unsubscribe.
Okay.
So it's free. So there you go. And let's see. Yeah, he's the guy. Hi, Jen.
Chiron in the 8th house.
Chiron 8th house. What's the topic? Just jumping in. Stevie 33.
Oh, we're just talking about everything.
Everything.
It's everything. We're kind of like talking about like cycles, astrology, trends, and
We're
things.
at the tarot convention.
Personally, and how it's reflected in the outer world. Because we really are all connected and part of it.
So you're at the convention with us now.
Yeah, now you guys are here. It's actually called Readers Studio, and they do it every year.
It's
and
all kinds of authors and
Yeah.
people that are studying the tarot.
Couple publishers.
Some people are new to the tarot.
Mhm.
And then we have major celebrities like Tori.
It's so funny because I ran into them and I'm like, oh my gosh, so good to see you. I kind of knew you were going to be here though because we did message. Now, a couple things I want to tell you though, just so you know, Monty does amazing stuff on his Facebook page, but I'm trying to convince him to do YouTube.
I'm gonna.
What is your YouTube channel?
Monte Farber.
Yeah, well, it's Monty for Amy. MONTE, the number 4, and then AMY.
Oh.
Yeah, it's because it's Monty for Amy. And we have a lot of stuff about the tarot, about astrology, a lot of stuff to introduce you
But you
to it.
always sort of tune into what's going on now
You do.
astrologically
But I
and
like
how
the-
it ties in with the news. No, I'm just saying that's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
you're going to be doing. That's what you do on Facebook. And you'll do it on
And the
YouTube.
other thing that I'm gonna pre-record with Monty one night, and I want to just share with all of you. We're gonna pre-record. I really want to see and go over again. I know it's been done, but we're gonna do the astrological chart for. I think we want to do Manson. We should really try to. I'd also like to see what's going on with LoriLoughlin.
Okay.
Because that's an interesting one too, because she's got that going on.
Well, they're making a new movie about Manson.
Sure.
Tarantino, right? I think.
Oh, are
So
they?
that might be interesting. It's going to be in the news.
Oh, okay.
You know what's interesting?
Yeah.
To me anyway, I hope it's interesting to you all.
Yeah.
But I have never been interested in doing a celebrity's charts, but I am interested in
Okay.
doing the charts of well-known criminals.
It-
That's
see,
interesting.
to me as well, because
I've never done it, but I'd be interested.
well, I think it's very interesting because what we're looking at also is we know more now.
Yeah.
So what we know now
Yes.
is like we're adding
Like new evidence.
exactly not only new evidence, but we're adding new information to astrology and tarot. And oh, Cynthia,
Well,
thank you so much for the super chat.
Oh,
This is what
that's so
Duty Ron
nice.
does. Love to you, love and respect. I'm copying Duty Ron. He does that great thing on there. Thank you so much for the super chat. Now, just so you know, that is what we're talking about because I was explaining to Monty and Amy. I want to get them on YouTube.
We're going to.
Okay, so we'll do a chart. We'll do a chart of famous. We'll start to do. If you guys have ideas on
Yeah.
who you
Yeah,
would
that's a good
like,
idea.
whose charts you would like to see. Now, unfortunately, you know what? And this is something also. If you don't have a birth time,
Yeah.
I have
Okay.
I was going to ask you about that.
No, well, first of all, you can go to places like Astrodiest
Things,
or
yeah.
Astrolabe, and they'll do your chart for free. And then just look for rising sign or ASC. The initials ASC stands for ascendant.
Mhm.
That's your rising sign. And then every time you read an astrology column, read for that sign that you see as your ascendant, because that's how you appear to other people,
Mhm.
even if you don't want to appear to them like that.
Now that's if you know the time that you're born.
And if you don't, you do a solar chart, which you do for
the
sunrise.
sun, you put the sunrise. Something I also want to say to you is that one of the things that happens when you do that, I've started also doing, like, if people like Chris Watts were in an emotional state when they slaughtered their family, I put their moon on the ascendant, where these, now what that means in English, everybody, is I just want to do a shout out because Cynthia, you like rock. Thank you for the super chat. That's really, look, I'm doing a Duty Ron again. Hard. Okay. So what they do is your rising sign is actually the sign that was rising at the time of your birth. So it's almost like a snapshot of the sky, right? So what Monty's talking about is your ASC or ascendant. That's the rising sign. That's going to determine where all the other planets go in that cake pan we look at. You know,
Yeah.
And
with-
also, as an astrologer, just reading and like with Monty, it's very intuitive. You're looking at this map, but it also starts triggering psychic information.
That's what happens with me too. I'll look at a chart and I'll start getting hits on the patterns. And it's interesting because it's very similar to crime in a way, because detectives look at patterns, right?
Yeah.
They're looking at, and I think that in a way, I've talked about this in other videos where, everybody has intuitive energy. It's a question of
We're
how
having
you're
fun.
going to learn it. It's also how you're using it. Like police officers use it for procedural and things,
Right.
whatever. Doctors use it and memorize what they need to learn, and then they forget everything so they can do it,
Mhm.
So when we talk about astrology, and this is something I've been doing lately, if you don't know the time of your birth, what
Well, it's
Monty's
easy to
talking
find
about.
out, though.
Is it?
Usually,
It
if you were
is.
born after 1939, it's always on record in the United States.
Unless you were born in a house without an
But
attending
what about
physician.
somebody we don't know? Like, can you get a stranger's birth? Like, because there are criminals out there that we don't know when they were
But if they're
born.
that famous, somebody's found it.
No, you'd be
somehow.
surprised. There's a
Really?
couple that I
You've been
haven't,
looking?
because
Okay.
I've been looking for a couple of them. And one of the things that's important, everybody, is that what we're talking about right now is what astrologers do. If they don't know the rising sign, they'll put the sun as the rising sign. Sun
Right.
means your natal sign. Like, I'm born in Sagittarius, so we would put Sagittarius, on the rising, and then everything in the chart would follow after that.
And then there's something called rectification.
Yeah, how does that work? Can you explain
Rectification works like you work backwards from someone's like the birth of their child,
Mhm.
Some major life event.
the loss of someone in their family.
that?
You work backwards from a life event, and you can do that.
Dang,
Guess
I
what?
guess we can.
Guess where we are when winter is gone.
It's like, oh my god.
We finally got spring, and now winter's coming.
Yeah, here we go again. What the hell was that?
That was the Game of Thrones.
I know. It's like, oh my gosh. Let me just see. Let's see. Nicole Knox. So interesting. I want to get good at reading charts. First, by understanding how to read my own, I'm looking into it and trying to learn the more comfortable reading symbols and their rulings. Now, that's funny you say that because Monty and Amy have a book on astrology. Which one does that?
If you want to learn astrology, I had something that's been out since 1988, and it's sold hundreds of thousands of copies in 17 languages, soon to be in Chinese. And yeah, really, this is
Thank God. Amy, I think you'll need that one.
And
Okay.
it's
called Karma Cards. And you can get it on Amazon or your local bookstore. Please patronize your local bookstore.
It teaches you astrology.
Teaches you the basics of astrology, because astrology, and I have a YouTube video about this, a chart and the rising sign is all based on the sign that's rising at the moment you're born.
Mhm.
And that's what sets the numbers attached to the lines of the 12-slice pizza pie.
And it teaches you all the signs, planets. And
All the
houses.
signs, planets, and houses. It's the easiest way to learn astrology.
The
Karma
basics.
Cards.
Okay, I'm just writing your YouTube channel name. It's Monty, Monty.
M-O-N-T-E.
Sorry, I can't spell.
You
and
want
I
me to
can't,
do that?
Yeah, you better do it because I can't see.
Okay,
Okay.
delete.
I just delete. So the karma cards is good, and then there was another one you did though. Don't you have a card deck, astrology deck?
Well, we did the Enchanted Astrologer, but I think that's not in.
It's more. Is that more an oracle?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, someone actually did post it. Yeah, it's
yay.
at Monty. I should have done
Thank
the ad.
you, Duty Ron. It's Monty.
Yeah, I'm glad
rocks.
someone who's a professional is doing
Yeah,
this.
we have the professional investigator taking care of finding you.
Well, you know, it's funny that I was just thinking about what you were saying. Astrology is motive and opportunity. Your
Oh,
chart is your MO.
that's really interesting.
I never thought about it until you
Because
said that.
Yeah, because that's why I was looking at when I'm looking at famous charts, like, you know, and I was using oh God, who was it? Ted Bundy's chart.
Wow.
I was looking at that
Wow, we've
Seen
seen
the
a lot of stuff
documentary
about
that
him.
latest?
Yeah, it's and the thing that now the
I can't
thing
believe we're still like.
I know it's like, you know, we're so into this. See, this is the thing you don't know, guys.
Aspen Police Department, hang your head in shame.
I don't like it when we tell people we just saw the show, you know, the serial killer and doing this and that, and people like look at us blankly.
Well, we're
Yeah.
counselors. We're helping people all day. We need to have something that just like you want to see bad people get caught.
And figure it out.
yeah, I
Why?
think-
The
yeah.
psychology. I mean, that's
Well-
what astrology is.
And I think that astrology also is the energy
Thank
behind
you, Black
it.
Rose.
It's the energy behind it that really becomes like, gosh, I didn't realize. For example, I was talking about Pluto in
Right.
the 7th house. For me, almost.
You have that natally?
No, I don't have it. Thank God. Because Pluto in the 7th house, when I see it in a chart, it almost always means the death of a spouse
Or it
or
can
the
mean
huge loss of a
You
partner.
mean you're talking about by transit?
No, I'm talking transit or natally.
Well, natally, it could also mean you have a partner who's very powerful and you're always in
It could play out
power
that way.
struggles.
Okay, so Chris Watts had Pluto in the 7th
Oh my
house.
God.
And he killed his partner.
Right.
What sign?
Oh God, I
Pluto
can't
is the
remember
god
right
of the underworld,
remember.
remember? He's the one who said, you go to heaven, you go to hell, you go to heaven. So it's all, Pluto is all about judgment, death, cutting things off. People with Pluto prominent in their charts, they cut things off. And they cut people off.
But it didn't have to play out that way.
Right.
In
No,
other
it
words,
didn't.
in astrology, you
now. No,
can't
and I want to
tell
say it
if
doesn't mean
somebody-
it'll
yeah.
happen.
No.
It can only
Right.
tell you indications
Yes.
or
Well, it's a bell curve. You know, at one end of it is I'm going to tell my partner what to do, and at the other end is I'm going to kill my partner.
well, and I hope that curve never quite makes it around
No,
the
that
corner.
doesn't. But
as
we're
they-
talking about someone who
I know,
lost.
I know.
it.
And-
Also, you can't tell from a chart if someone's a genius or, you know.
I use the Koch houses,
Impaired.
K-O-C-H. Someone asked about Placidius or Placid.
Let's see. Do we all use Placidia? No, I don't think so.
We use this K-O-C-H,
Koch or something.
or it's unfortunately pronounced Koch houses, but okay. But we don't want to
Yeah.
get banned out of YouTube.
I know, right? Where are the similarities in other cases? Susan Hamilton. We'll have to. You know what? I'll write these down, and then we'll look at charts and stuff. If we can find charts. You know, it's easy enough for us to just go on, do a pre-record. We can put it up for you so you can see it. Because I think that it really helps.
Well, astrology is a science of observation. So the more that we
Mhm.
can look through and apply it to what we saw happen, you know, we learn as astrologers. It's fascinating.
Well, and that's what, I think the real key to good astrologers is learning the interpretation, just like good police work. So let me see what Carol, thank you for the super chat. That's a duty Ron. Thank you right there. I'm new, but haven't stopped laughing. I'm at work and I keep getting it. That's so funny. Why? Yes. That has, it's like we've got this crazy trio here because Amy's Aries, so it's like she is just to me delicious and fabulous, right? Because your Aries falls in my 8th house, so I think she's very mysterious. So then we've got Monty, who is Aquarius, and my Venus connects with his Aquarius. It conjuncts you.
Oh, nice. I have Venus in Aquarius too.
Do you? Because it's how we see the world in terms of like sometimes we'd rather just have friends than lovers. That's just a funny now them that's different. But the thing is that
you're both such free thinkers.
That's what I was just going to say too. Yeah.
Different.
Yeah, because Venus in your chart represents how you like things, how you attract things, what you love. So
and it's all
how
the
you
beauty.
like to decorate.
Yeah.
What you think is pretty. What
do you think their house looks like? We're going to do it.
Really nice.
I know. I bet it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous because Amy is like, okay.
But there's a lot. It's not a Zen house.
Yes.
Okay, so look at some of her jewelry, guys. I want to show you.
Have all the signs of the zodiac.
She has the signs of the zodiac on that.
Stars,
this is her stuff, by the way. She makes these.
Like this has peace and love.
Peace and love, earrings.
Seriously,
it's all like
you wouldn't know that they're 120 years old, okay? Because it's all of the.
We never stop.
It's like,
look how much fun we have.
I know. You know what? It's just like, I just love them. It's like so much fun to just have friends that you can sit and like go, oh my gosh, is the world crazy? Yes. Okay, good. We can go on now.
Let's hope so.
Well, and I think that when we understand, I think in true crime too, we really are looking to understand and to really see parts of. True crime. Isn't that the craziest thing?
And also what you say about the family legacy, because sometimes I feel so bad for the parents.
Yeah.
Who was it? The guy, the cannibal guy that ate
Dahmer.
I saw his mother talk one time, and like she seemed so sweet and like.
She's probably cooking the cat. I don't know what the hell's going on over there. I'm sorry, but like it's always the sweet ones. You notice that? I was getting notes from people going, so and so is so sweet, and I'm thinking she probably sawed people apart in the back room. I mean,
I think sometimes people just are bad. I make it come from good people. I do. I unfortunately think that happens.
Well, they do see patterns, right? They're mean to animals.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
As little kids. A lot of the serial killers.
Do you know what? You guys are going to laugh. I have a gal that works for me part-time, and she said, well, I just had to let this client go. She's a nanny. She said, yeah, the mother knows. She said, I'm kind of the fourth. I'm the fourth nanny in like 2 months.
Whoa.
And I said, what? And so, here's the question.
Right. I hope you guys are ready to watch the strap dance because that's what's happening. So here's
party's
exactly. Well, my father only hit me once, but I deserved it. But,
there you go.
So here's a crazy situation.
We're doing a live feed.
So
that's funny. Go ahead.
So when I was a younger person, my nephew's friends were over and they were throwing rocks at a squirrel. And I picked these 2 kids up and I lifted them in the air and I said, serial killers start this way.
Oh God.
I said, do you want to be throwing? Do you want me to throw rocks at you? Do you want to be a serial killer when you grow up? So then,
Did they become a serial killer?
Okay,
Flash 20 years later, Amy gets bitten by a spider, and she uses an EpiPen to keep the reaction down. And the police come, and I'm looking at the cop, and it's one of the kids that I lifted up in the air. And told him that serial killers kill squirrels. And he's looking at me, and I'm looking at him, and I'm like, do you remember? And I'm like, yeah,
yes,
you remember.
And
I'm like, yes, officer, yes, no, officer. Yes, officer, no, officer. It was very fun. And he started laughing. We remember John. Oh, my God, it was so great.
See, and that's the thing, too. Like, as we talk about this stuff, it's kind of like, I think the tie to that. Oh, don't go. Wait.
I think we ran out of electricity.
I think we did.